This episode of Another Happy Pod is going to contain spoilers. If you've not experienced the content yourself, please go ahead and do so before coming back and listening to the boys ramble on about it. Thank you very much.
Shut up, Lawrence. Hello and welcome back to another Happy Pod, the show where we talk about movies and pop culture and whatever else you want to have a little chat about. We try to keep it a little bit more on the optimistic side, but we don't always succeed. We do have a bloody good time doing it, though. My name is Nathan James Bauer. As always, I'm joined by Lawrence. Lawrence.
Yeah, just me, full stop today.
Just you, full stop. Could not decide what insult to go with. Realised I'm editing. Didn't want to do too much, so I thought we'll just stick with Lawrence today.
Maybe the bigger insult is to not even dignify me with the thought of an insult.
Maybe it is. Yes.
Who knows?
Maybe the bigger insult is to. I don't know, man. I'm tired. What do you want from me?
I don't know. An introduction would be good.
Well, you
Nathan,
got one.
I did. How's your week been? How have you been?
It's tiring and stressful, really.
Just life in general, not this
life
week
in general. Yeah, it's been weighing me down. Been struggling with my mental health. I feel like fucking just screaming sometimes, but all of that is getting cut.
Anyways, welcome to another Happy Pod.
No, it's been fine. I got new internet, so I no longer have to deal with barely fucking 14 megabyte download speeds. I'm now speeding along that super information highway at the speed of light. So,
But yeah, like in Wreck-It Ralph 2, when he's going through like the internet portals. Is that what you feel like?
What a topical reference. Here's an even more topical reference for you. You know that gif of the 90s kid on the internet and then he has his thumbs up and does a little nod to the camera? That's
I do.
me at all times now.
The cool kid.
Yeah, just think of me nodding to the camera with my thumbs up whilst I'm surfing the super information highway.
I'm actually picturing that gif if it was you, and it brings a little smile to my face. It makes me happy.
Well, there you are. How was your week, Lawrence?
My week was good, Nathan. I secured a victory royale on Fortnite for the first time.
And how did you secure that victory royale?
With your help.
Yes. And how have you secured any other victory royales?
I haven't. I've come very close.
Well,
but I'll get there. I'm training. You're like my my Rage Al Ghul. You're my you're teaching me on a mountain, Lawrence. This is how you get the victory royales in Fortnite.
That's right, guys. Two men in their late 20s are playing Fortnite, and
late 20s. You speak for yourself. I'm in my early 20s. I'm in my prime.
You early 20s. Fuck off. You turn 25 next year.
24 is not rounded up to 20.
No,
30.
you're mid 20s at least.
24 is rounded down. I'm sorry, but that's fact.
Mid 20s at least. You can't get away with saying early 20s anymore.
I'll accept mid, but don't you dare be throwing me in your late 20s. Like you tarring me with the same brush as yourself. No, thank you.
Fuck off.
I've still got a spring in my step. I'll have you know.
You don't though, do you?
No,
you just don't.
I feel like a 45-year-old man. Nathan, I'm going to dedicate this episode to two dear friends of mine, one of whom you know.
Well, first of all, I think
it's a great segue ruined yet again by Nathan.
Yeah,
because why flow? Why have chemistry with your co-host when you can just endlessly interrupt them? To go on, say what? What have you got to say?
I think you should ask me what we're doing today.
Are you joking? Fuck. What are we doing today, Nathan?
Venom, as far as I'm aware.
If you somehow made it to the last 5 minutes of our podcast last week, and I don't blame you if you didn't, we said we were doing Venom. I inserted the very humorous Eminem song Venom, and we all had a good laugh. I then couldn't go and see Venom.
And so by Venom, we mean Venom 2.
Yeah, Venom 2, Let There Be a Big Boogaloo.
Yes.
And so I couldn't see Venom, so we decided.
So then we said, let's watch Squid Game. So we're doing the Squid Game episode instead.
Why are you doing this? Why are you outing me like this?
So here we are. Let's get ready to discuss Squid Game, right, Lawrence?
Well, Nathan, I then came to terms with the fact that I didn't have time for 9 hours of TV in 2 days. So then, and I can finally get to my segue now and shut your fucking mouth. I took heed from two dear friends of mine, one of whom you know, one of whom you do not, who are Dave and Will.
Who's
Now,
Dave?
Dave is a dude who you've never met, I don't believe. Who is a friend and him and Will have been badgering me since we started this podcast to watch The Prince of Egypt. They've reminded me at almost every kind of social event that I've been at with them, and they've just kind of hounded me to do it. And I've always said, "Nah, I probably won't do it." Until this week, after 2 failed attempts at topics, I went, let's just fucking watch The Prince of fucking Egypt and be done with it, so I can stop having this conversation. So that's what we're talking about this week. I am just hot off watching it. I finished it a mere half an hour ago, if that.
For the first time.
For the first time, indeed, yeah.
Yeah, bizarre. Very bizarre to have seen The Prince of Egypt for the first time in your late 20s. I myself watched it a lot as a young nipper. It was a favorite of mine when I was a young child, and then watching it again recently. I haven't watched it in about gotta be like 10, 15 years or so, and then watching it again earlier today. I suddenly remembered the traumatic experiences I had watching it, because there was one scene in particular which fucking terrified me as a child, and watching it again brought back some very bad feelings.
Okay.
So,
I wonder what we'll get there.
it's not even that scary.
be.
It's not even that scary. But as a child, I was like, I don't like this. So.
You're just like, I'm imagining like 12-year-old you sat there and be like, oh my god. I understand so many modern issues that have carried over through to the 21st century. What on earth? the political themes and mere messages of morality of this have crippled me.
I'm not talking like 12. I mean, like when I was like, I don't know, 4 or 5 or something.
That's even more impressive that you grasp the concept then. Like if I was like 4 and I watched this for the first time, I'd just be like, man moves sea with stick. Yeah.
I mean,
like,
I'm pretty sure that was what I thought. I wasn't like, yeah, slavery bad at the age of 4. I didn't know.
No, it's true. I've got a boatload of notes. This is a film that I very enjoyed. Did
you?
I very enjoyed. I had a good time with this movie, and most of my notes are just kind of like just little funny things. There's some things in this that I can't help but think are funny.
Okay.
And that's not a bad thing. I like all little. They may seem like little stupid nitpicks, and they're not. I really appreciate this film, and I think it's a very, very good movie that has a great message and is, for like in the art form of animation, was kind of ahead of its time in a lot of the like cool.
It looks really good, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure. And like when you look at other films that came out around that time, like no, I don't think any kind of film is acting on par doing as creative animation work. Like you know when you see an animated movie and you go, this could have been live action and it wouldn't change anything. This couldn't have been. Like and that's really cool.
And that was proved in 2013 or 2014, I believe. Yeah.
Oh god.
A little movie called Exodus: Gods Among Us, directed by Ridley Scott, starring Christian Bale, a lot of other white people. And it was a flop. I think it made like in its total run, it made like 30 million US total.
Jesus Christ, for Ridley Scott as well.
Yeah, it was not good. It was not well received.
You'd expect word of mouth just to carry Ridley Scott through that, though, wouldn't you? Like, or at least like not like word of mouth is saying people can say it's shit, but like the name Ridley Scott commands money. Like you'd think that would have that 30 million is bad. That's very bad.
I mean, something like that. It might not be that low, but it was quite low. Yeah. It definitely didn't break even. But yeah, not a good movie and racist. So there you are.
Well, speaking of everyone, speaking of racism and everyone being white,
okay, yes,
everyone's white.
But at least this is animated, so they don't look white.
Yeah, that's true. They sound very white.
They do sound very white. You got some names though. You got Val Kilmer, Patrick Stewart, Ralph Fiennes, Michelle Pfeiffer, Sandra Bullock, Jeff Goldblum himself.
Did you intentionally pronounce it Ralph and Pfeiffer?
Is it not Ralph?
It's Rafe, I think. I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Rafe. It's
I'm
spelled
looking,
Ralph.
I'm looking at it now. That is absolutely Ralph. If he wants to call me Rafe, he can fuck off. If he wants me to call him Rafe, he can fuck off.
There you go. Nathan doesn't care about how you identify everyone. That's an exclusive for another Happy Pod.
Exactly.
Nathan's like, you are what I say you are, and that's it.
I don't care about your feelings. Steve Martin and Martin Short was a shock. Great comedy duo. Steve Martin and Martin Short. Steve
Who are they? They're the
two
scientists,
priests,
aren't they? Yeah, the
scientists.
Whatever they are, they're like
they're in their lab cooking up chemicals, aren't
they? They basically are. I've glorified meth chefs back in the day. This movie falls. Firstly, it made me laugh. DreamWorks is very ahead of their time with the with a religious disclaimer. Like this movie opens like, you don't like it, I don't care. It would. We've done some things. We've done some creative liberties. Don't worry about it. It's fine. It's how like all the Ubisoft games starts, which makes me laugh.
Didn't they say the opposite of that though? Didn't they say there wasn't?
No, they say. No, they say we've taken some creative license with the story, but we still think the story holds true to like the ethical and moral message.
There's really not much creative license though. For the most part, it is quite accurate to the biblical story.
I'm not well versed in the Bible. I haven't read it in a while.
I've never read it myself.
No, well, neither have I. I was just trying to be kind of cultured. Clearly, it didn't work. Okay. This opens with like a carriage riding scene, which really reminded me of like, you know, in the Assassin's Creed games where you get like you're on a horse.
I have a feeling we might be talking about Assassin's Creed a lot during this episode.
Oh yeah. But you know when you're on a horse and it's like you're on a set piece and you have to do fighting outside of being on the horse, so the game takes the control of the horse.
So the horse is on rails.
Yeah. It really reminded me of that.
Okay. What a fun little way to start.
It just did. I don't know why.
That's also not how the movie opens. It opens with Moses being put into a basket. His mother sings, "River, oh river, go gently for me, such precious cargo you carry." She lays her son down and sends him off down the River Nile. And that river does not give a shit, man. That is throwing everything at him. You got crocodiles, hippos. There's a big bloody boat sends him falling down a waterfall at one point. He's all over the place. How he doesn't have brain damage permanently, I do not know.
I think he does it because at one point his man's just flat out wearing a wig and he's got a full head of hair. What's he doing? Why is he wearing a wig?
It's a traditional Egyptian headdress, Lawrence. Speaking of which, this movie is banned in Egypt.
Is it?
Yeah, it is.
Is it too real for them?
Maybe. It's I don't know why it's banned, but it is.
I like my big sand triangles. Don't tell me that they were built by slaves. My sand triangles are mine, and I like them. That's what they say in Egypt.
That's famously what they say. Yeah.
That's a quote. I think that river though, that like, you know, go gently with my son who's in a basket scene. That's not the first time where God just doesn't give one about anyone else in this film, is it?
No, it's pretty brutal. It's so there is the biblical story of Exodus. It does deal with the plagues where, you know, in order to free the Hebrews, the Jewish people, God decides to just fucking kill everyone else. You got a firstborn child? Nah, they are gone, mate.
God's like, I'm sick of misery and suffering and death. Time for more misery, suffering, and death, I say.
And it's pretty brutal as well. It's for like a children's family movie. This gets pretty dark and intense at times.
Wait, there's the shot where like the son, like who's, by the way, it's like firstborns as well. So like that's not just like that could be adults. It's mad. You know, people tend to think of kids, but that's like Thanos fucking wiping out half of Egypt shit. Like it's ridiculous. But there's a scene with a kid
contained to that one city.
Unless you've got an innocent sheep's blood over your door.
Yeah.
Also, how much blood does a sheep have?
I'd imagine they killed more than one.
Yeah, well, more blood on God's hand is what I say.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
what do you think about their how how both brothers from Egypt, or not brothers, but you know what I mean. Both of the brothers are from Egypt. However, one is from America and one is from England.
You really are nitpicking, aren't you?
I love. This is a very good film. I really enjoyed it, but for the entire thing, I could not get past Ray Fiennes. I just couldn't. I just even down to the point where he like raises his sword at the end when Moses is leading his people out, um, and he fucking what's his name? What's he called? Ramesses.
Yeah.
He raises his sword and he just goes, yeah, and I was like, that's Voldemort. Voldemort does that. I
I thought
could not forget it for the entire film.
I did think that too, so you're not alone there.
Let's. I don't know. What have you got to say? I want to get into some things that aren't nitpicks. I don't want to just be a dick the whole fucking show.
I really, I enjoyed it as a kid. I enjoy it now. It's got some really good music. I think, although there's a bit like it was confusing because I thought there was a lot more songs in this than there actually was. I remembered
Yeah.
there being a lot of music and a lot of really good songs. Turns out I got confused because I have been listening over the last year or so. I have been listening a lot to the Prince of Egypt, the West End musical soundtrack. There's a West End adaptation of
Uh,
this,
okay.
which is also really good. I definitely recommend listening.
This is definitely a film with a West End musical, isn't it? Like you
Yeah,
know it after watching it. Yeah.
yeah, 100%, and it is really good. I definitely recommend anyone listen to that because there's a lot of great songs in there. But yeah, I got confused. I thought like a lot of the stuff that was in the musical was in this, but that's not true. There's only like 3 or 4 songs in this total,
Yeah.
really. But all of them bops, all of them really good.
A lot of them are like a lot of the little musical moments are reprises of previous moments as well. Like
Yeah,
was it he keeps identifying different places as home, which is quite nice. Good. I think they're all really good, like serving the story musical bits. Which and less is more in musicals. I often think because if you're just padding it with songs that are obviously just meant to be bops, like it's not the right way to do a musical. Everything should advance the plot to some degree, which is really cool.
yeah, that's right. I'll tell you what. One thing a musical should not have is music. So you got some weird takes when it comes to musicals.
um, I think there's some really firstly, I don't know why I love the movie trope of like of a family dispute. I said it recently when we watched Shang-Chi. I'm not comparing this to Shang-Chi in any way, but like I really liked like the family aspect of it. Like I always find stories with conflict more compelling when it's two people that know each other. And there's my favorite scene in this is when Moses goes, and it's when him and God have just rained shit and misery onto the entirety of Egypt because Ramses is like, nah, I'm not gonna do what you say. Um,
To a great song.
yeah, exactly. That's a great song. Yeah, and he goes there and he says like, look, can we not just fucking end this? And he recalls like a little child anecdote that they have, and they start to bond. And you can see that there's a shared relationship there. And then the thing that breaks him out of it is Ramsey's son comes in and is like, isn't that dickhead that's making everyone die? And he's like, oh yeah, it is. And then you're immediately shown that he can't be the weak link like he keeps thinking he is. And yeah, I don't know. I just find family dramas like so compelling, and this does it really well.
It does, yeah. Right from the beginning, you're given a whole bunch of family drama. You got this adopted son raised as a prince when he's a slave essentially. He's born from a family of slaves, and he was only set down the river so he could have a better life or whatever. Which he gets, he does end up happening, but then also it comes at a cost because he forgets who he is and who his actual people are, and he's not a nice person at first as well. He's quite well, he's a man who has slaves, so he's not going to be a nice
Yeah.
person. So he has to learn a lesson, obviously. But all throughout that, the whole thing I would highlight was, yeah, him coming to terms with that, like when he comes across his sister and his Jeff Goldblum brother, and all that sort of stuff, and then he starts to learn the truth. That's what I really like. The scene which terrified me as a child was the dreamlike sequence where it's like the Egyptian wall art. and it's just like the slaughtering of the
Love that scene.
Hebrews. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was good. It's good. It's really well done, but it was fucking harrowing for me as a kid. I think it
Yeah.
was the imagery of like the fucking babies being fed to the crocodiles. I think it was just
Oh, it's
terrified me so
it's
much as a
fucking out
kid.
there. Like it's
Yeah.
fun. I remember watching it not some 2 hours ago, and just and just being like, this is fucking dark. Like I'm quite surprised at
Brutal.
like how
Yeah.
willingly. And to be fair, that's one of the things I love about this so much. Like I think the film does a good job. So many times in like fiction, you'll get God depicted as like a bearded dude who's like kind of like the almighty power. And like, he makes a little bit of a joke. He kind of like a fucking Father Christmas type figure, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where whereas in this, God is shown to be a fucking resentful, almighty, terrifying entity. Like this is like if if God came to me like this, I'd be fucking shit scared. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's pretty scary. He's voiced by Val Kilmer as well.
Yeah, I just that. Sorry, again. I watched this on Amazon Prime, and I was already finding it funny that Val Kilmer voiced an Egyptian prince, and then I paused it and at the exact moment, and then Amazon Prime shows you who's playing who in the scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it came up, and I had to take a picture of it because the screenshot just says Val Kilmer as Moses and Val Kilmer as God, and I don't know why I found it so funny.
I don't know either. It's really not that funny.
And, I don't know why it tickled me. I don't know. It made me laugh. Imagine today the casting announcement of Val Kilmer as God and Moses. There'd be hell on Twitter. There'd be absolutely.
God would be less controversial, because
Yeah.
that's not really someone you can pin down to a particular race. But yeah, Moses definitely. Even for the fucking Exodus movie that came out, the Christian Bale one, I think even that was too late for it to still be an all
Yeah.
white cast, and that was like 2015, 2014 or whatever.
Mate, I still think the lesson hasn't been learned. Like, if this was a movie made today, it would still be a white dude.
I don't think it would.
I don't know.
No,
I don't know.
I
Oh,
don't think
maybe
it
not
would
today.
be.
Maybe 5 years ago then.
5 years ago, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not today. But no, it's good for the most part. Like I say, it's really dark at times. The plague scene as well. To that great song, which we're both like, again, really dark. The imagery of like, there's the fire behind the fucking eye in the big statue, the Sphinx or whatever. It's not a Sphinx, but whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's brutal, but it's just really, really well done. And then there's just a quick note here. Again, we were saying the animation is quite good. The 4-minute part of the Red Sea sequence took 10 animators 2 years to complete.
Fuck, and it looks like it as well. It's
Yeah.
incredible. Like,
Yeah, 2
I'd imagine
years.
I'd imagine today that would have been done much quicker, but that's like the dedication and level of and the artistry of that sequence. Like I was watching it and I went, "Fuck me, this is good, isn't it?" Like,
It's the animation is a little weird because it's kind of 2D, but it's also kind of 3D at the same time.
I
There
thought
is a
that
little bit of depth to it.
there's moments where Moses is like running and it's like a dead on camera view, like looking
Yeah.
straight at him. And as he gets closer, his face kind of like like when you use different lenses, a face can change shape.
Yeah.
It gets like that, and it kind of like fisheyes at the kind of the climax of the shot, and it's it's really interesting and really unique style.
Yeah.
Which is
And
quite
it
cool.
looks beautiful.
Yeah. Uh, so that being said, did you find that a lot of the women in this, bar the sister, are the exact same face? Like they just have the exact same face but with different hair.
Oh, no, I didn't notice that.
I don't know. Yeah, it's just a thing. It's just a weird thing.
Is that true?
I don't know if it's a fact, but like visually they just seem really similar to each other. But I've only watched it the once, so maybe I'm wrong. But yeah,
Okay. I didn't notice it myself, so maybe. I'm not saying
maybe.
it's no, but I didn't pick up on it.
There's a great moment. So everything that Moses does is kind of like guided by God, right? Like his even the ideas are like kind of posed earlier in the film that like the reason he survived was because of God. The reason that he had his like epiphany when he had it was because of God. The moment where Moses goes to part the sea, which
Yeah.
is like obviously the moment where, which the entire film has kind of been building to. It's obviously going to be the climactic sequence. Um, he goes there of his own accord and just holds the staff. Like God, yeah, obviously grants him the power to do something, but up to then, every choice he's made has been God saying, whispering in his ear, going, "Do this, and then you'll be fine." That this was the moment where like Moses stepped into the leader role and was like, "Okay, I've got complete faith in God to do this now," and just went and did his thing, which I thought was a really nice moment.
Yeah, really good. Shows him coming into his own. Sounds weird to talk positively about a biblical story. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, no, like I'm not a big religious guy. Like if I had to describe my relationship with religion, it would be like, you know, the Stephen Fry quote where he's like, you know, if God exists, and explain cancer in children and babies and stuff. Like
Yeah,
that's my opinion. Uh kind of. But yeah, this is, but like, look, just as looking at this as a film, as a, you know, like remove the kind of the biblical um like influence of it. Like this is just a
yeah,
good story, which is what the Bible
it is.
is.
Yeah,
Stories.
a bunch of
Um
stories.
yeah. And
And
I
that's
like
not
to,
as that's not as saying, oh, it's all fictional. It literally is just a bunch of stories. By the way, that's not as taking a stance either way. That's
yeah.
just as saying
No.
that's what the Bible is.
Okay, so it seems like I probably have missed something. And feel free to correct me because you've seen it a few times, and obviously I've only seen it just the once. Um, it seems like a really weird choice plot wise for the Pharaoh to like order the death of 1,000 slave children and then just be completely
That
chill
was
with
Patrick Stewart, the Pharaoh.
Patrick Stewart, the Pharaoh. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay.
Such a nice man to have playing a tyrannical murderer. Um, but yeah, but then he's just completely. So he orders the death of all the slave children, and then one rocks up in his palace. And I know that the mum says, "Don't question why the gods send you a blessing." Blah blah blah. But
Yeah.
this surely this dude wouldn't see it as a blessing, as he, you know, he's just been told,
He
not been
doesn't,
told.
but he doesn't necessarily know it's a slave child. He doesn't know it's a Hebrew. There's just,
Mm.
as far as they're aware, it's just a kid, and they're just like, oh, all right.
Would you right? Would you not
And obviously,
assume
as
though?
well, the mother found it first, found him first.
Yeah. I don't
So
know. I'd assume it's not. You know, it's it's not too far of a line to like to connect the dots between where you order the death of a bunch of children and then an abandoned child washes up. like, like, do you know what I mean?
yeah, I get what you're saying. I don't know.
I don't
It's a
know.
biblical
Plot.
story.
Yeah.
I don't think they was really thinking about fucking plot holes that much, to be honest, mate.
They're in the writers' room, like, well, listen, if the plot hole was that serious, I'm sure Jesus would have caught it. All
I don't
right.
think Kevin Feige was there giving them notes on the larger cinematic universe.
He's like, take out the God plot; it confuses the story. Uh, yeah, no, this is a good movie. I think the screenplay is really tight. Like just like things happen really naturally, things flow really well. And
It's
again,
breezy. It's breezy,
yeah,
man.
and
It
it is
flows.
breezy. Yeah,
It flows so quick. It wastes no time and just like, let's get through this. Let's do it. Let's fucking go. Which is quite good. It's tight. It's like 90 minutes long. It's not a difficult watch at all. It's fucking breezy. So it's,
yeah.
some movies are too long these days.
Way too.
And this was
Mate,
just
whoever invented like there are limited reasons why a film should be anything over 2.5 hours, and that's if they're a cinematic event.
yes.
Like you've got either a groundbreaking story that you know is going to be amazing, or if you've got like an end game type hype level movie. They're the
Yes.
reasons. Anything else, get to fuck with your 2.5 hours. Like that's just
Yeah.
such a chunk out of my day, man. Just tell your story quickly and move along. I don't need a B plot about your mum's getting a divorce or something. Like I don't care. Give me the main plot and be done with it. Tell your
Yeah.
story.
Say that,
But
Zach.
yeah, fuck. Oh, jeez. You know what? No, I'm not gonna go there. Yeah, no, ultimately, like this is a. There's probably a lot. There's like if we got some big kind of religious dudes on the podcast and spoke about it, like I'm sure they'd have a bunch to say. But I watched this not even critically, but just as a person that enjoys movies, and I did enjoy this movie. Like I haven't got too much to say about the imagery of the Bible. Like I think the animation is sick. There's some great moments, great compelling story, good plot. Like Nathan said, breezy as fuck. it's an all round good film, good time.
I think it's one of those rare movies where it's liked by both religious types and non-religious types. Really,
Yeah,
it's not like offensive either way. It's one that tells a good story, does it really well, is visually pleasing, breezy to watch. It's all around just a good fun time. DreamWorks, what the fuck happened to you? Do more stuff
yeah,
like
right.
this
Jesus
instead of the
Christ.
Boss Baby 7 or whatever. Just
Uh,
do this.
they they took the wrong message from this film, and they just got too greedy. They got too blind to the truth.
You did. DreamWorks used to do some great animated stories, but these days, not so much.
Maybe
Not so
maybe
much.
not so much. Yeah. I'll say one last thing about the animation. There's some great moments in this where like the animation is really like it's really nice in the sense of like visually pleasing. But like so stuff that will be happening in the foreground is kind of being echoed in the background. And I'd imagine
Yeah.
there's like a name for this technique. But like for example, when Patrick Stewart's Pharaoh is pointing in the background, there'll be like other things that are
Yes.
pointing as well. And there's
Yes.
some more literal ones where it's like a painting of a guy, pointing, and it does it like that. But there's other moments that are really cool where like he's pointing and there'll be like just things in the background that are pointing subtly, like door frames that have like got a cornered edge that are pointing a certain way.
Yeah.
And like it's just really the attention to detail is so good. Like it's really nice.
I noticed that too. Yeah, there are some really good moments of that. You got the big statues in the background, like there's one moment where Ramsey sits down and he's just like pretty much parallel to his own statue in the background and stuff.
Yeah.
Really, really visually pleasing. Good work.
Some cool stuff. But then they had to
Yeah.
go and ruin it by ripping off Mariah Carey and Whitney Houston's classic "When You Believe." What the fuck's that about?
Didn't it start with this movie?
As a joke. It was a joke.
Oh,
Clearly a
okay.
very hilarious and successful one.
Yeah, it was a great joke.
It
was a
it landed and we all heard it. Now let's move on. That's what I say. Yeah, no, I got nothing else to say about this. Like again, like I'm sure it deserves more of a comment, but I didn't come to watch it and scrutinize it as a religious believer. Like I just came to watch it as a good movie, and it is a good movie.
Well, as your microphone cuts out, what I will say, it was a good fun time all around. I had a lot of fun watching it again, just as I did as a kid, trauma aside. And I think everyone, including yourself, Lawrence, should listen to the Prince of Egypt soundtrack, the West End musical version, because, like I said, it takes the already great bops that you have and adds some more of them. So there you go.
And there we go. And if I can currently be heard, I think we'll wrap it up there.
What I will say, just briefly, is this episode was kind of suggested by Will and Dave, whoever Dave is. And if you want to suggest an episode, you can do that. Maybe. Tell them how, Lawrence.
You can follow us and suggest episodes if you'd like on Twitter and Instagram. You can find us there at Another Happy Pod. You can also rate the podcast 5 stars. Maybe while you're rating it 5 stars, you can tell us something you'd like us to watch. We probably will ignore it until a time comes where we don't know what to do for an episode and we go, fuck it, let's just finally do that thing, get that person.
Which is pretty much every week, because we at the end of every episode, before we play the clip of the new episode, which will happen in about 30 seconds, we have to pause to figure out what we're actually going to do. So there you are.
A little peek behind the curtain for you there. But yeah, next week, as Nathan said, we're going to be doing this. Right,
so what are we doing?
Please keep that in.
What's that noise?
Popcorn.
You making popcorn?
Well, I'm getting ready to watch a video.
Really? What?
Oh, just some scary movie.
You like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
You never told me your name.
Why do you want to know my name?
So I want to know who I'm looking at.
Whoa, that sounds like a spooky time.
A spooky time, because it is a very,
Fantastic. Thanks for listening to this. New episodes go live at 10 a.m. on Fridays. And yeah, you can hear us there, or you can hear us in your dreams.
Anyway, that was the Prince of Egypt episode. Thank you for tuning in to the big drive home. Here we go, playing this out. It is Miracles from the Prince of Egypt. Take it away, Moses.
Thanks again to Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring this episode.
Gonna leave all of this in.
Yeah, obviously. Play the whole song.
I will. I don't care about copyright.
Yeah, we don't make any money from these. You want to come for us, you fucking come for us.
Yeah.
You take every penny of this. There's none.
Apply a strike, see what happens.
Yeah, go on. We don't give a
Can you
shit.
even do that on podcasts? I
Who
don't know.
cares? We don't give a shit. Go on, strike us.
Shut up. No one can hear the song.
Sorry. Do I have to be here for this? Can I go?
Yes. No, you have to be here.
Okay, good.
I'm genuinely going to play the whole thing.
I know you are. How long is it?
There's like 3.5 minutes left.
When she loved me.
That's Toy Story.
I know. Why stream this on whatever music app you have when you could listen to it at the end of this episode through a speaker?
This is the way it was meant to be heard.
Do you reckon we'll ever appear on a pirate site for this song?
Maybe. Alright, no. Well, I will play.
That was a nice moment. Nathan, how would you react if God appeared to you and
Are
told
we
you...
still on? Is this still in the episode? I'm confused.
Yeah, why not?
Alright.
Or just be creative. Throw it in earlier, why not? Nathan, if God came to you and told you,
Yeah.
you must now dedicate your life to this mission that I could easily do in an afternoon,
Yeah.
you'd tell him to fuck off, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but that sounds long, man.
Yeah, that's on you, geez.
I got shit to do.
You did this, not me.
I'm not dedicating my life to your shit, man. I got my own stuff. I got a podcast to run.
Oh, one more thing. Feel free to throw this in wherever you want. It's a funny little moment where Moses walks in and he's like, "Listen,
This is all post credits. I don't get this is post the theme tune at the end.
That's fine." There's a fun little moment where he comes in and he goes, "Listen, Ramesses, God's come to me and he said you got to stop doing this. You got to stop doing this stuff. It's bad." Ramesses is like, "Yeah, whatever, mate. I've heard it all before. Whatever you say." And he's like, "All right then. Behold the power of God." And knowing what we know God can do,
Yeah.
knowing that at the end of this movie the Red Sea is going to be parted, right,
Yeah.
in a spectacular fashion, God's like, "Oh, he told him to bloody behold. Well, hold on to your hats for this. I'm gonna turn a staff into a snake."
Yeah.
And that's what he does.
Pretty impressive stuff.
Do something better. God
power-
longed this out. I'm sorry, God longed this whole thing out.
It's the
God,
power
like,
of God right there. I want to have
so
this
many
blasphemy.
people. God wanted to save so many people that he was like, might fuck around, do it real slow, and kill bare people instead.
He's just like, look at this snake. It's pretty cool.
Once was a stick. What happened to that poor snake? Did it become the stick again?
Yeah.
Poor snake.
I don't think it was a snake. It was a stick.
No, it became a snake.
No, it was still the stick.
Well, it
It just
became a
looks like-
snake that looked around.
It looked like a snake, but it was still a stick.
If you're still here, if you're still here listening to this, you're now just listening to me and they can have a discussion. I'm
There's
sorry.
a reason this is after the fucking
This is
Anyway,
just-
bye. Love you.
yeah, bye.